I need to tell someone what happened. If I don't, I'll go insane. I'm writing this in a cheap roadside motel just outside Cold Ridge, still covered in dried blood and snow. I don't know how much time I have before they find me again. This all started 2 nights ago, when I decided to take a shortcut through the old mountain road. The weather was already getting bad, snow blowing sideways across the highway, visibility garbage. But I thought I could beat the storm. Google Maps said the detour would save me an hour. The road wasn't even named on the map. Just a thin gray line winding through dense forest. The second I turned onto it, my cell signal vanished. I didn't care at first. It was peaceful. No lights, no cars, just silence and snow. But about 15 minutes in, things started feeling wrong. The snow wasn't letting up. If anything, it was getting heavier. My wipers struggled. I slowed down to a crawl. That's when I saw the first car. Parked on the shoulder. Driver's door wide open. No one inside. Looked abandoned. Then I saw another. And another. All within a mile stretch. All with doors hanging open or trunks popped. Some had frost-covered clothes inside, like people had just stepped out. Like they vanished mid-drive. I felt my hands gripping the wheel tighter. My headlights barely cut through the flurry ahead. I swear I started seeing shapes just beyond the light. Dark outlines between the trees. They moved too smoothly. Not like deer. Like people. Watching. I tried to turn around, but the snow behind me had already covered the road. I was trapped. Only one direction left. Forward. That's when I saw her. A woman in the middle of the road, waving her arms frantically. I slammed on the brakes and skidded to a stop. She rushed up to the passenger window, pounding on it. Her mouth moved, but I couldn't hear her over the wind. I cracked it open just an inch. She screamed, "Don't stop. Don't stop driving. They'll get you." Then her eyes rolled back, and she was yanked backward into the trees. Fast. Like something had a grip on her. Gone. I floored it. My tires fought for traction. The road narrowed. Trees leaned in from both sides, forming a tunnel of darkness. Every so often, I saw faces in the woods. Just long enough to register the eyes. Reflective. The snowstorm came faster than anyone expected. By nightfall, the small town of Rydell was buried under nearly 3 feet of snow, and the old mountain roads were declared impassable. But Eric and Jenna didn't care. They had rented a secluded winter cabin 2 hours from town, looking to disconnect. No phones, no emails, no people. The only way to reach it. A winding, forgotten stretch of road that locals called the Snow Spine. A narrow path that cut through the mountain forest and had seen more accidents than any other in the county. It wasn't even on Google Maps anymore. Just a thread of cracked asphalt snaking through dark trees and white hills. But Eric was stubborn. "We'll be fine," he told Jenna. "I've driven worse." She wasn't so sure. Something about the road felt wrong from the moment they turned onto it. There were no tracks ahead of them. Not even their own stayed long. The snow swallowed them quickly. Trees leaned close on either side, so dense it felt like the woods were watching them. The headlights caught twisted shapes in the branches. Old bird nests, maybe. Or something else. They drove for 30 minutes without seeing a single sign or landmark. And then, the car died. The engine sputtered, choked, and went silent. Eric cursed, tried the key again. Nothing. He popped the hood and stepped into the snow, which now reached his shins. Jenna stayed in the car, watching him under the dome light. He was bent over the engine for 5 minutes. And then, he stood up. But he didn't turn around. He just stood there, perfectly still, shoulders hunched. Jenna got out. The cold hit her like a wall. She walked up to him slowly, boots crunching in the snow. "Eric?" He didn't move. She put a hand on his shoulder. "Eric, are you okay?" He turned. But it wasn't Eric. The face was stretched, bloated, lips torn open into a permanent grin, black eyes sunken deep. The thing wore Eric's coat, Eric's gloves, but its skin looked blue and cracking. It reached toward her with frostbitten fingers. Jenna screamed and fell back into the snow, scrambling away. The thing tilted its head, confused, or maybe amused, then stepped backward into the dark. Seconds later, the real Eric stumbled from behind the car, clutching his head. "I think I hit it. I hit something under the snow," he groaned. Jenna stared at him in disbelief. "You were just here. You turned around and..." Eric shook his head. "No, I was under the car." They got back inside and locked the doors. Eric tried to explain the problem, something electrical maybe, but Jenna didn't care. She just wanted off the road. Then they saw the first light. Not headlights. A lantern, flickering in the trees. Then another, and another. 3, 5, 9. Dozens. They moved slowly, weaving between the trunks. Shadows danced behind them, figures in the dark. Jenna whispered, "What is that?" Eric whispered back, "We're not alone." They ducked down, turned off the dome light. The temperature dropped sharply inside the car. The windows frosted over in seconds. Outside, the lanterns grew closer. Too close. One of the figures stepped into the beam of their headlights for just a second. It had no eyes, just hollow sockets. Its mouth stretched impossibly wide. Snow clung to its flesh like it had grown there. Jenna wanted to scream but couldn't. The lantern passed. Then another. And another. Soon the car was surrounded. Tapping started on the windows. Light at first. Then heavier. Like nails scratching. Eric held his breath. One of the windows cracked. Then the hood buckled. Something was crawling across it. The figures began to chant. Not in English. Not in any language they knew. A low, throat-scraping whisper growing louder. "We see. We wait. We take." Jenna grabbed Eric's hand and squeezed until her fingers went numb. Suddenly, a roar filled the air. Headlights exploded through the trees behind them. A snowplow. Old. Rusty. But barreling straight at them like salvation. The lanterns vanished. The chanting stopped. The figures melted into the woods like smoke. The plow skidded to a stop. The driver, an old man in a parka, leaned out and shouted, "You folks stuck?" Eric and Jenna ran. They didn't stop until they were in the cab, shaking. The old man didn't ask questions, just turned the plow around and took them back the way they came. Later, when they tried to find the road again with police, it was gone. Literally gone. Not buried. Not blocked. Gone. The forest had reclaimed it. Trees grew where it once twisted. The state records showed that the snow spine was officially closed down in 1996 after a series of unexplained deaths and disappearances. Locals say the road never really closed. It just learned to hide. And sometimes, when the snow is deep enough and the cold is sharp enough, it opens. But only to those it wants. I drive plow trucks for the county up north, way up north. If you've never worked nights clearing frozen rural roads in whiteout conditions, let me paint it for you. It's endless dark. No lights. No houses. Just your headlights cutting through snow like a knife through milk. Some roads are so far out that your radio crackles out, and your only company is the wind battering your cab. 3 winters ago, I was out on Route 17. Locals call it the Ridge. It runs along a frozen forest line where signal dies and plows avoid if they can. But a storm had dropped 2 feet of powder in hours, and my supervisor told me to clear it or lose my job. So I went. About 20 minutes in, I noticed something strange. My tire tracks kept vanishing. I de-plow forward, leave thick ruts, look back in my mirrors, and see nothing. Just smooth, untouched snow. I told myself the wind was covering them. But the trees weren't even swaying. There was no wind. Just stillness. Heavy, suffocating stillness. Then I saw him. At first I thought it was a deer. There was something just off the road to the right, low in the ditch. I slowed down, leaned over, and that's when I saw it was a man, kneeling in the snow. His back was to me. I hit my brakes hard. My plow slid slightly sideways on the icy road. I jumped out and ran over, yelling, "Hey, you all right?" No response. The snow came up to my knees in that ditch. My boots sank, freezing water seeping in. I reached him, touched his shoulder. Ice. Solid ice. His coat was frozen stiff. So was his hair. But he wasn't dead. He turned around. His eyes moved. Slowly. Like frozen marbles. His mouth opened, and a wheeze came out, not a breath, but a dry, rustling sound like parchment scraping. I stumbled back. My instincts screamed. I bolted to my plow and got in, locking the door, panting. He was still there. Kneeling. Staring. That was enough for me. I radioed in for help, but static. I hit reverse, turned around, and started driving fast back the way I came. But after 5 minutes of driving, something was wrong. The plow hit something with a loud thunk. I stopped, got out, walked around the truck. It was him. Again. Kneeling. In the ditch. Same coat. Same frozen posture. Same eyes tracking me. I got back in and floored it. I wasn't thinking straight anymore. I just wanted off that road. 10 minutes. 15. 20. Still nothing. Just trees. Snow. Ditches. And then, there he was again. I stopped the truck, screaming, threw open the door, ran up to him with a shovel from the back of the plow, swung it at his face with everything I had. It passed straight through him. No contact. No impact. Like swinging through smoke. I screamed and ran back to the truck, shaking, crying. Slammed the door shut. This time, he was in front of the truck, standing, and he smiled. His lips cracked and split. Skin peeled. A long, rattling noise escaped his mouth. Not a word. A laugh. He pointed behind me. I turned in my seat. The passenger side door was open. Snow drifted in. My breath caught. I slammed the gear into drive and roared forward. I didn't stop until I saw the distant orange glow of town lights. I stumbled into the county garage, babbling. The other drivers looked at me like I was drunk or crazy. Later that night, the sheriff went out to check the area. He called me, voice shaking. Said he found something. There was a frozen man in the ditch on Route 17. ID said had been missing since 1987. I said he was alive when I saw him. The sheriff paused, then said something that still makes my blood run cold. We didn't find him kneeling. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, he was standing, grinning, looking straight at the road. They shut down Route 17 for 2 weeks after that. And ever since, every time a storm hits hard, there are reports, blurry dash cam footage, panic calls, always from that road. A man, kneeling. Sometimes he waves. Sometimes he follows. If you ever find yourself plowing Route 17 on a snowy night, or worse, broken down, remember this. Don't stop. Don't speak. And whatever you do, don't let him get in your truck.